Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the chaos of everyday life? Is your mind constantly racing, unable to find a moment of peace? Do you find yourself wishing for a sense of calm, but don't know how to achieve it? These are questions many of us face, and the truth is, inner peace doesn't come easily for most. But what if there was a way to unlock it, to quiet the noise within and experience true calm, no matter the circumstances around you? Imagine this. You're caught in traffic, frustration building up inside you. Your thoughts are spiraling, your patience is thinning, and the world outside seems to be against you. Now, picture this same moment, but instead of feeling stressed, you're calm, collected, and at peace. What if you could maintain that inner peace even in life's most trying moments? In this video, we're going to explore how to cultivate that inner stillness, that sense of calm and peace, no matter what's happening around you. We'll dive into simple, yet profound practices rooted in Buddhism that can transform the way you experience the world. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we delve into timeless wisdom to help you live a more peaceful and fulfilling life. If you're tired of feeling stressed, anxious, and out of balance, you're in the right place. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So, if you want to learn how to live a more peaceful life, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. It helps us reach more people and bring this valuable knowledge to the world. Now, let's get started on your journey to inner peace. Understanding the nature of the mind. The mind is like a river, flowing endlessly. Sometimes the waters are clear, reflecting the world around it in peace. Other times, the river is muddy, swirling with confusion and chaos. Just like this river, our minds are constantly changing, moving from one thought to the next. Some thoughts bring us peace, while others stir up turmoil. But what if we could learn to observe this flow of thoughts without getting caught in it? What if we could watch the river of our mind from the shore, detached, peaceful, and calm? To truly understand peace, we must first understand the mind. The Buddha often spoke of the mind as the source of all suffering and all happiness. Our minds are incredibly powerful, but they are also unruly. They can create suffering where there is none, and they can lead us away from peace without us even realizing it. This is why understanding the nature of the mind is the first step in cultivating calm and peace within ourselves. The mind doesn't work like a clear glass window, reflecting the world as it truly is. Instead, it's like a distorted mirror that reflects the world through layers of past experiences, beliefs, and expectations. Imagine trying to look through a foggy window. Everything you see is unclear, and you can't make out the details. This is how most of us experience life. We don't see things as they are. We see them through the lens of our past thoughts and emotions. At the root of this confusion is our attachment to our thoughts. We become so identified with them, believing that they are who we are. I am angry, we say. I am sad. But in reality, these are just passing states of mind, temporary clouds that obscure the sky of our true nature. The mind isn't us. It's simply a tool, a part of us, but not the whole. The Buddha taught us to observe the mind without attachment. This is not to say we ignore our thoughts or push them away. Rather, we learn to sit with them, to watch them rise and fall like waves on the ocean. We see them for what they are, temporary, fleeting, and not a true reflection of who we are. This observation can bring us incredible peace. When we stop reacting to every thought, we create space between our awareness and the thought itself. Instead of being pulled along by the current, we sit on the shore, watching the river flow by. Thoughts come and go, but we remain undisturbed. We realize that the mind is not the enemy. It is simply a part of us that needs to be understood and observed. One way to understand the mind is to consider the concept of dukkha, often translated as suffering or dissatisfaction. In Buddhism, dukkha is not just physical pain, but the deeper, more subtle dissatisfaction we feel in life. It's the unease that arises when things don't go the way we expect, or when we feel that something is missing. This dissatisfaction is a product of the mind. It arises from our desires, our attachments, and our tendency to resist change. When we understand that dukkha is born from the mind, we can begin to look at the mind differently. Another important aspect of the mind is its habit of constantly chasing after pleasure and avoiding pain. This is called craving and aversion. The mind often thinks, if I can just get this thing, I will be happy. Or, if I can avoid this discomfort, I will find peace. But this is a never-ending cycle. The more we chase after pleasure and run from discomfort, the more restless our mind becomes. True peace, the Buddha taught, is not found in the fulfillment of desires, but in the liberation from them. When we stop chasing, we can sit quietly, and in that stillness, peace is already there. The mind also has a tendency to hold on to past experiences. We carry around memories, both pleasant and painful, that shape how we view the present. We may find ourselves reacting to a situation today as if it's the same as something that happened in the past. This is the mind's way of protecting us, but it also keeps us stuck in old patterns. The past is gone. It cannot be changed. When we are attached to the past, we can never experience the fullness of the present moment. In the same way, the mind worries about the future. It is always planning, imagining, or fearing what might come next. But the future is uncertain. It has not yet arrived. Worrying about it only creates stress and anxiety. Peace can only be found in the present moment. When we let go of the need to control the future and focus on the here and now, the mind becomes calmer. The nature of the mind is to be restless, but this restlessness doesn't have to be a source of suffering. Instead of fighting the mind, we learn to work with it. Through mindfulness and meditation, we can train the mind to be more peaceful. These practices help us observe our thoughts without becoming entangled in them. The Buddha's teachings on the mind are practical. He didn't offer abstract ideas. He showed us how to live with a mind that is calm and peaceful. Through his teachings, we can learn to recognize when our minds are spinning out of control and gently bring them back to a place of stillness. The more we practice, the more we begin to see that the mind doesn't have to be the master of us. We can learn to be the master of the mind. We can choose to observe it, to understand it, and to let it go when it is no longer serving us. But it all starts with awareness. We must first notice the patterns of the mind, the constant thinking, judging, and reacting. Once we recognize these patterns, we can begin to change them. It's not easy, and it takes time, but with patience and practice, the mind can be trained to be more peaceful. Understanding the nature of the mind is the foundation of inner peace. It is only when we see the mind for what it truly is, impermanent, ever-changing, and not a reflection of our true self, that we can begin to let go of its grip. The more we understand the mind, the more we can step back from it and watch it with detachment. In this detachment, peace arises, and this peace, once found, becomes a stable part of who we are, no matter what life throws our way. The Buddha once said, "With our thoughts, we make the world." What he meant is that our experience of the world is shaped by our thoughts. If our thoughts are peaceful, the world around us will appear peaceful. If our thoughts are restless, the world will feel chaotic. To change our experience of the world, we must first change the way we relate to our minds. The mind is not something we must control, but something we must understand. In understanding the mind, we unlock the key to lasting peace. When we observe our thoughts with clarity and compassion, without attachment or judgment, we open the door to a deeper, more profound sense of calm. The role of mindfulness in cultivating peace. When we talk about mindfulness, what comes to mind? Perhaps you think of meditation, sitting in a quiet room, focusing on your breath. And yes, that is a part of mindfulness, but mindfulness is much more than that. It is a way of being, a way of living, a way of experiencing life in its full richness. It's about paying attention, being aware, and living in the moment. Imagine walking down the street, noticing the colors of the trees, the scent in the air, the sound of your footsteps on the ground. In that moment, your mind is not racing ahead to what you need to do tomorrow or reflecting on something that happened yesterday. You are simply present. And that presence, that awareness, is mindfulness. It's the practice of being fully awake in each moment. Mindfulness allows us to see life clearly. It helps us notice the small things that we often miss when we're caught up in the whirlwind of daily life. By being mindful, we can observe our thoughts without becoming lost in them. We can experience our emotions without letting them control us. We can see situations as they are, without the filters of judgment, fear, or expectation. In this way, mindfulness helps us find peace. You might wonder, But how does this relate to inner peace? Well, think about this. When we are not mindful, we live in a constant state of distraction. Our minds are always somewhere else, always thinking about something that isn't here and now. This creates restlessness. We are never fully present in our own lives. We're always looking for something outside of ourselves to make us happy or calm, but it never works. It's like chasing a butterfly that always stays just out of reach. When you practice mindfulness, you bring your focus back to the present moment. You stop chasing after the next thing, the next distraction, and instead, you embrace what is already here. You become aware of your thoughts, your feelings, your body, and your surroundings. And in this awareness, you find peace. Let's try a simple exercise together. Right now, wherever you are, take a moment to just breathe. Close your eyes, if you can, and take a deep breath in. Feel the air fill your lungs. Notice how it feels, the coolness as you inhale, the warmth as you exhale. Let your attention rest on the sensation of your breath. Now, as you breathe, you might notice thoughts popping up in your mind. Maybe you're thinking about something from your day, or something you need to do later. That's okay. Just notice those thoughts without judgment. Don't try to push them away. Simply acknowledge them, and then bring your focus back to your breath. As you continue breathing, notice how your body feels. Are there any areas of tension? Can you relax those areas with each breath? Pay attention to the present moment without any agenda, just being aware. This is mindfulness in its simplest form. The key to mindfulness is acceptance. It's not about forcing your mind to be quiet or trying to control your thoughts. It's about observing them without judgment, without reacting. When we practice mindfulness, we begin to see our thoughts for what they are, just thoughts. They don't define us, they don't control us, and they don't need to affect our peace. Through mindfulness, we also begin to understand the impermanent nature of life. Thoughts, emotions, sensations, and experiences come and go. Nothing is permanent. This realization is one of the core teachings of Buddhism. When we are mindful, we start to see how fleeting everything is. This helps us let go of attachment and the desire to hold on to things that are beyond our control. We can learn to live with what is, without trying to change it or resist it. In our busy lives, we often overlook the beauty of the present moment. We are constantly thinking about what's next, what's wrong, what's missing. But when we practice mindfulness, we learn to appreciate the present for what it is, not for what it could be. This appreciation brings a deep sense of peace. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we start to feel at ease with ourselves and the world around us. We begin to notice the beauty in simple things: a cup of tea, the warmth of the sun, a conversation with a friend. These moments, once overlooked, become sources of joy and contentment. Mindfulness also helps us respond to life more calmly. When we are mindful, we are less likely to react impulsively. We can pause before speaking, before acting, and choose a response that is thoughtful and peaceful. This ability to pause is one of the most powerful tools for cultivating peace within. But mindfulness doesn't just happen during formal meditation. It can be practiced in every moment of our lives. Whether you are eating, walking, talking, or even doing chores, you can bring mindfulness to it. The goal is not to isolate mindfulness to a specific time or place, but to integrate it into your daily life. In Buddhism, mindfulness is often referred to as one of the Eightfold Path practices. It is the foundation of wisdom and insight. It is through mindfulness that we begin to understand the nature of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. And through this understanding, we find peace. Sometimes, we think that peace comes from external circumstances. We think that if only our work was less stressful, if only our relationships were smoother, if only we had more time, we could be at peace. But true peace doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. It comes from our ability to be present, to accept life as it is, and to respond with mindfulness. When we are mindful, we stop trying to control everything. We stop struggling with the world around us. We stop trying to force things into place and let life unfold naturally. This doesn't mean that we don't take action or make decisions. It simply means that we do so with a calm, clear mind, free from anxiety and attachment. One of the most profound teachings of mindfulness is that it helps us to see things as they truly are. Often, we are clouded by our biases, judgments, and desires. We don't see things clearly. Mindfulness clears away these clouds and reveals the world in its purest form. We can see the beauty, the impermanence, and the interconnectedness of all things. As you continue to practice mindfulness, you may find that the sense of peace begins to grow within you. It's not a peace that comes from the outside, but a peace that arises from within. It's a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances or people, but a peace that is always available to you, whenever you choose to be present. The more you practice, the more you will notice that your mind becomes calmer, your reactions become gentler, and your life becomes more peaceful. Mindfulness helps us to stop being at war with ourselves and the world. It helps us to simply be, to exist in harmony with what is, and to find peace in every moment. As we continue on this path, we will explore even deeper practices that build upon mindfulness. But for now, take a moment to reflect on the power of mindfulness in your life. How can you begin to incorporate it into your daily routine? How can you bring your full attention to each moment, and in doing so, cultivate peace within yourself? Remember, the journey to inner peace begins with the simple act of being present. Let mindfulness be the foundation upon which you build your peace. Letting go, releasing attachments and desires. In the stillness of the mind, you will discover a profound truth. Everything in life is temporary. This simple realization is the beginning of freedom. We often attach ourselves to things, people, or ideas, thinking they are what we need to be happy. But the more we cling, the more we suffer. The Buddha spoke of the truth of impermanence. Everything changes, and nothing lasts forever. This understanding can bring peace if we allow ourselves to let go. Letting go does not mean abandoning everything or becoming indifferent to the world. It means freeing ourselves from the mental chains that bind us to things outside of our control. Think of it like holding a stone in your hand. At first, it may seem manageable, but over time, the weight of the stone becomes unbearable. You feel tired, worn out, and restless. All you need to do is let go, release the stone, and feel the immediate lightness that follows. This is how it feels when you let go of attachment. Attachments are not just to objects. We also cling to expectations, judgments, and desires. We want things to be a certain way, and when they don't turn out as expected, we suffer. The mind becomes restless, unable to accept the way things are. The first step in letting go is to observe how deeply we are attached to certain thoughts and desires. When you notice these attachments, instead of fighting them, simply observe them without judgment. Just watch and breathe. This observation creates space in your mind, allowing you to realize that these attachments do not define you. Buddha taught that desires are the root of suffering, but desires themselves are not the problem. It is our attachment to them. Desiring food, comfort, love, or success is natural, but when we begin to cling to these desires and believe that our happiness depends on them, that's when the struggle begins. When we believe we must have something or someone to be complete, we set ourselves up for disappointment because nothing in life is permanent. So, how can we let go? First, we must cultivate awareness. Awareness is the foundation of everything. It is the quiet observer of the mind. When we are aware of our attachments and desires, we can begin to let go of them. Notice when you feel a strong desire arise within you, whether it is for material things, approval, or even a certain outcome in life. Instead of immediately acting on that desire, pause, take a deep breath, and let the moment unfold without grasping. This doesn't mean giving up on goals or desires. It means allowing yourself to pursue them without clinging to the idea of needing them to fulfill you. Pursue your dreams, but don't tie your happiness to their success. When you learn to enjoy the journey without worrying about the destination, you will find peace. Life becomes lighter because you are no longer holding tightly to the weight of expectations. In Buddhist practice, we often speak of the concept of non-attachment. Non-attachment is not about renouncing life or material things. It's about understanding their place in your life. You can enjoy the beauty of a sunset, the joy of a good meal, or the warmth of a loved one without becoming attached to them. You can experience these things fully without believing that you need them to be happy. This subtle shift in perspective brings freedom and peace. Consider the example of a flower. The flower blooms beautifully for a time, and then, naturally, it fades. It doesn't struggle or resist the changes in its life. It simply blooms and then lets go. The flower does not cling to its petals. It simply exists, fully in the moment, and when its time has passed, it falls away with grace. We, too, can live like this flower, fully alive, without holding on too tightly, without fear of what may come or go. Letting go also means releasing the burden of regret and guilt. We often hold on to the past, replaying mistakes or missed opportunities in our minds. We think that by holding on to these thoughts, we can somehow make things right. But this is a trap. The past is already gone, and no amount of clinging to it will change its course. The only thing we can control is the present moment. By letting go of the past, we make space for the beauty of now. This is how peace enters our lives. In the same way, we must also let go of worries about the future. The future is not here yet, and it is uncertain. When we fixate on what might happen, we rob ourselves of the joy of the present. Imagine walking along a path, but instead of looking at where you are going, you are constantly looking behind you or staring into the distance, trying to predict what lies ahead. You miss the beauty of the present moment. The future will unfold as it will, but only by being present now can we truly experience life. One way to practice letting go is through meditation. Meditation teaches us to sit with our thoughts and observe them without attaching to them. Imagine your thoughts as clouds passing by in the sky. You don't need to chase after them or hold on to them. Just watch as they come and go. Over time, this practice helps you detach from the constant pull of your desires and attachments. You begin to realize that you are not your thoughts or emotions. You are the observer of them. Letting go also involves forgiving ourselves and others. Holding on to resentment and anger is like holding on to burning coals. It only hurts us. When we forgive, we release the hold that these emotions have over us. Forgiveness frees our heart, allowing us to experience peace. The Buddha taught that forgiveness is not for the person who wronged you. It is for your own liberation. When you forgive, you are no longer a prisoner of your anger or pain. As you continue on your journey of letting go, you will begin to notice a shift in your life. You may find that you no longer feel as attached to the things and people around you. You begin to move through life with greater ease and openness. You stop grasping for approval or success, and instead, you begin to live in harmony with what is. The more you let go, the more peace you will find. So, begin with small steps. Notice your attachments and desires throughout the day. Whenever you feel the urge to hold on tightly, pause and breathe. Let go of the need for things to be a certain way. Release the weight of expectations. With each letting go, you will experience a little more peace. Over time, the peace will grow, and the chaos of the world will no longer disturb your inner calm. The practice of loving kindness and compassion. Loving kindness and compassion are two of the most powerful tools you can use to create peace within yourself. They are like a gentle breeze that sweeps away the dust and debris from your mind, making room for stillness and tranquility. But what exactly are they? And how can they help you become calm and peaceful? Let us begin with the simple idea of loving kindness. Loving kindness is the ability to wish others well, not because they deserve it, but simply because you want them to be happy. It is a feeling that doesn't depend on others' actions, but comes from a deep well within your own heart. Imagine a moment in your life when you felt pure love, when you looked at someone, maybe your child, your parent, or a friend, and you felt nothing but warmth and good intentions toward them. That is the essence of loving kindness. It doesn't ask for anything in return, and it doesn't judge. It simply desires the well-being of others. Now, compassion is the next step. While loving kindness is wishing others well, compassion is the willingness to help when they suffer. Compassion is like the warm embrace that offers comfort in times of pain. It is the deep understanding that we are all interconnected, that when one person suffers, the whole world feels it. Let me offer you a simple exercise to begin cultivating loving kindness and compassion in your own life. It's a very easy practice, and you can do it anywhere, anytime. Start by sitting comfortably and closing your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, and as you exhale, relax your body and mind. Picture someone you care about deeply. It could be a friend, family member, or even a pet. Picture them in your mind's eye and send them thoughts of love. Say silently to yourself, "May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. Repeat this phrase several times, imagining your warm thoughts surrounding them like a gentle light. Now, expand this practice. Imagine someone you're neutral toward, perhaps a colleague or acquaintance. Send them the same thoughts of love. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. Notice that it feels just as natural to wish them well, even if you don't know them deeply. Next, think of someone you may have difficulty with, someone who has caused you harm or whom you struggle to forgive. Send them the same wishes, even if it feels difficult at first. You can say, "May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease." This might feel challenging, but it's a powerful way to dissolve anger and resentment and to make space for peace. As you continue to practice loving kindness and compassion, you'll notice something remarkable happening. You will begin to feel lighter, more open, and more at ease. It's as if the weight of the world lifts off your shoulders. This is because loving kindness and compassion have a transformative power. They help to shift your focus away from negativity, away from judgments, and toward the goodness in yourself and others. They create an inner environment where peace can naturally grow. When you develop compassion, you also start to see the suffering in the world more clearly. But instead of becoming overwhelmed by it, you develop a sense of deep empathy. You understand that suffering is a part of life, and that everyone, in their own way, is doing their best to navigate the challenges they face. This understanding allows you to remain calm, even in the face of difficulty, because you see that suffering is not something that can be avoided, but something we can all learn to live with. Buddhism teaches us that all beings experience suffering. It's part of being human, but it's also part of being interconnected. The more you practice loving kindness, the more you begin to understand that we are all in this together. Your peace becomes not just a personal thing, but something that can spread to others. You might be amazed at how much peace you can bring to a difficult situation simply by maintaining a compassionate attitude. When you practice compassion, you're not just helping others, you're also helping yourself. Research has shown that acts of kindness and compassion have a profound effect on our own well-being. When we help others, our brain releases feel-good chemicals like oxytocin and serotonin. These chemicals not only help us feel better, but they also reduce stress and anxiety. In the Buddhist tradition, loving kindness and compassion are also closely tied to the concept of equanimity. Equanimity means maintaining a balanced and peaceful state of mind, no matter what is happening around you. It's the ability to stay calm in the face of joy or sorrow, success or failure, and to understand that everything is impermanent. Loving kindness and compassion support equanimity because they allow you to approach the world with an open heart, free from judgment or attachment. To cultivate this balance, it's helpful to meditate regularly on these qualities. As you meditate, imagine sending love and compassion to all beings, starting with yourself. Yes, you must start with yourself. Often, we are the hardest on ourselves. We criticize ourselves, judge ourselves, and believe that we are unworthy of love. But the truth is, you cannot truly love others unless you love yourself first. So, during your meditation, say to yourself, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease." Repeat these words until you feel the warmth of your own love fill your heart. Once you've sent love to yourself, you can then send it out to others, as we did earlier. It's important to remember that loving kindness and compassion are not just feelings. They are also actions. You can show compassion through simple acts, such as listening to someone who needs to talk, offering a helping hand, or even just offering a smile. These actions don't require grand gestures, but they make a world of difference to the person receiving them. When you cultivate loving kindness and compassion, you are building a peaceful world inside yourself. But that peace doesn't stay inside. It ripples out into the world, touching those around you. You become a source of calm and comfort to others. And as you give, you receive. The more you practice these qualities, the more peace you will experience in your own life. Remember, it takes time. Just like learning to ride a bike or learning a new skill, developing loving kindness and compassion takes practice. But with patience, you'll find that these practices begin to shape who you are. They become natural, automatic, and part of your very being. You'll start to notice the difference in your interactions with others, in the way you handle stress, and in the way you view the world. Loving kindness and compassion are the keys to peace. They soften your heart, clear your mind, and open your life to the present moment. And in the present moment, you will find the calm and peace you have been seeking. The power of breath, anchoring yourself in the present. The breath is always with you. In every moment, it is there, flowing in and out, quietly and steadily. Yet, how often do you pay attention to it? How often do you pause and simply observe your breath? The truth is, most people are too caught up in their thoughts, worries, and distractions to notice this simple, life-sustaining process. But the breath holds a secret. When you become aware of it, it can be your anchor in the present moment, a source of calm, and a gateway to true peace. In Buddhism, we are taught that the breath is a powerful tool for mindfulness. It is a bridge between the mind and body, a direct link to the present. When you breathe mindfully, you are grounding yourself in the here and now. The act of breathing is always happening, always available to you. No matter where you are, no matter what is going on in your life, you can return to your breath and find stillness within. Imagine this. You're feeling overwhelmed. Your thoughts are racing, and your emotions are swirling. Your mind might be caught up in the past or the future, or you might be consumed by worries that seem too big to handle. But in this moment, you can choose to stop and focus on your breath. You inhale deeply, filling your lungs with air, and then exhale slowly, letting go of tension. With each breath, you return to yourself. You come back to the present. The power of the breath lies in its simplicity. It doesn't require effort or complicated techniques. It is always there, guiding you back to peace whenever you need it. You don't have to go anywhere or do anything special. All you need to do is breathe. When you breathe consciously, you begin to release the tension that builds up in your body. You may notice that your shoulders, once tense and tight, start to relax. Your heart rate may slow down, and your mind, once scattered and restless, becomes still. The breath helps you become aware of your body and your state of mind, and through this awareness, you can make a choice to let go of stress and return to a place of peace. You might ask, how can something as simple as breathing make such a big difference? The answer lies in mindfulness. When you focus on your breath, you are practicing mindfulness, the art of being fully present in the moment, without judgment or distraction. This is a core teaching in Buddhism. It is through mindfulness that we cultivate awareness, and through awareness, we discover the peace that resides within us. In Buddhism, mindfulness is often described as the ability to see things as they are. This means seeing the world without the filters of judgment, expectation, or fear. When you breathe mindfully, you are practicing this kind of seeing. You are not trying to change your breath or make it fit into any particular pattern. You are simply observing it, allowing it to be as it is. And in that observation, you begin to let go of the need to control or manipulate the world around you. But why is it so important to focus on the breath? In many ways, the breath is a mirror of your inner state. When you are stressed, your breath becomes shallow and rapid. When you are calm, your breath is deep and steady. By paying attention to your breath, you can gain insight into your emotional and mental state. You can become aware of when you are tense, anxious, or overwhelmed, and you can choose to return to the breath as a way to find balance. This practice of mindful breathing can be done anywhere, anytime. You don't need to set aside special time for it. You don't need to be in a quiet room or in a meditation pose. All you need is a moment of awareness and a willingness to breathe. Whether you are sitting at your desk, waiting in line, or walking down the street, you can pause and take a few deep breaths. Each breath is an opportunity to center yourself, to release tension, and to come back to the present. Start by simply noticing your breath. Are you breathing deeply or shallowly? Are you holding your breath, or is it flowing freely? Just observe without judgment. With each inhale, imagine that you are filling your body with calmness and peace. With each exhale, imagine that you are releasing any stress or negativity. As you practice mindful breathing, you will begin to notice subtle changes in your body and mind. You may feel more grounded, more centered, and more at ease. Your thoughts may slow down, and your emotions may become more balanced. This is the power of the breath in action. The breath also teaches us the impermanence of life. Each breath comes and goes, just like every moment in life. We cannot hold on to any single breath. Just as we cannot hold onto any single moment, everything is in constant flow, and when we learn to accept this flow, we become less attached to the past and less fearful of the future. We begin to live more fully in the present, where peace and calm reside. When you breathe deeply, you are also nurturing your body. Deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for relaxation. This slows your heart rate, lowers your blood pressure, and promotes a sense of calm throughout your entire body. It is a natural antidote to stress. In addition to this, the breath is a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. The air we breathe is shared by all living beings. Each breath is a gift, a reminder that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. This awareness can bring a sense of gratitude and humility, two qualities that help us find peace in the world around us. The next time you feel overwhelmed or stressed, return to your breath. Notice how it feels as it moves in and out of your body. With each breath, allow yourself to let go of tension and come back to the present. With practice, you will find that the breath becomes a steady companion, always available to guide you back to peace, no matter what life throws your way. So, take a deep breath now. Notice the cool air as it enters your nostrils and the warm air as it leaves. With each breath, you are returning to yourself. You are coming back to the present moment, where peace and calm reside. Allow the breath to anchor you, to ground you, and to remind you of the deep peace that is always available to you. Facing difficult emotions with equanimity. In life, emotions come and go like waves in the ocean. Sometimes they are gentle and calm, and other times they crash and pull us under. Difficult emotions, such as anger, sadness, or fear, often arise unexpectedly. They grip us tightly, making us feel out of control. But there is a way to face these emotions with grace, without being swept away by them. This is what we call equanimity, the ability to remain balanced and calm, no matter what emotions we experience. Imagine a stormy day. The wind howls, the rain pours down, and the sea is wild and turbulent. In the midst of this chaos, there is a small boat. The boat may rock and sway, but it remains afloat. It does not sink, because it stays steady and does not allow the waves to overwhelm it. In the same way, we can learn to stay steady within ourselves, even when the emotional storms of life arise. Equanimity is not about suppressing or ignoring emotions. It's not about pretending that everything is fine when we're hurting. It's about acknowledging the emotion without allowing it to control us. It's about creating space between ourselves and our feelings, so we can observe them without being dragged into them. Just as we watch a storm from a safe distance, we can watch our emotions rise and fall without becoming lost in them. When anger arises, for example, it can feel like a fire burning inside us. Our heart races, our thoughts become clouded, and we may feel the urge to lash out. But instead of acting on that anger, we can pause and breathe deeply. We can observe the anger without identifying with it. I am not my anger, we remind ourselves. This is just a passing feeling. By creating this small space between us and the emotion, we can choose how to respond, rather than reacting impulsively. This same practice applies to sadness. Sometimes, life presents us with losses or challenges that bring tears to our eyes. We may feel overwhelmed by grief, and it may seem as though we'll never find our way out. But if we can observe the sadness without resisting it, we may discover that, like a cloud in the sky, it will eventually pass. We don't need to push the sadness away or try to fix it. We simply allow it to be, knowing that it, too, is temporary. Fear is another emotion that can grip us tightly. It often arises when we face the unknown or when we feel threatened in some way. Fear can paralyze us, keeping us from taking action or living fully. But fear, like all emotions, is just a feeling. It doesn't define who we are. By sitting with our fear, breathing through it, and recognizing it for what it is, we can diminish its power over us. In time, we may find that the fear loses its grip and no longer holds us back. The key to facing difficult emotions with equanimity is mindfulness. Mindfulness allows us to become aware of our emotions in the present moment, without judgment. When we are mindful, we can notice the physical sensations that accompany emotions, the tightness in our chest, the quickening of our breath, the heat in our face. These are all signals that an emotion is arising. Instead of reacting to the sensation with fear or frustration, we can simply observe it. Ah, this is what anger feels like, or this is how fear manifests in my body. By acknowledging the sensation, we take away its power to control us. Another important aspect of equanimity is non-attachment. Often, we become attached to our emotions, thinking that they are permanent or that they define us. But emotions are like clouds in the sky. They come and go. They don't stay forever, and they don't define who we are at our core. When we let go of the need to hold on to our emotions, we free ourselves from their control. We can experience them fully, but we don't need to be trapped by them. One powerful way to cultivate equanimity is through meditation. Meditation gives us the space to observe our thoughts and emotions without reacting to them. As we sit in stillness, we may notice that emotions arise, perhaps anger, sadness, or fear. Rather than pushing them away or getting lost in them, we simply observe them with curiosity. Ah, here is anger. We may think, ah, here is sadness. By observing without judgment, we begin to create a sense of distance between ourselves and our emotions. Over time, this practice helps us develop greater equanimity in our daily lives. In Buddhism, equanimity is considered one of the 4 immeasurables, qualities of the heart that lead to liberation and peace. The other 3 are loving kindness, compassion, and sympathetic joy. These qualities work together, supporting and reinforcing each other. When we practice equanimity, we are able to approach our emotions with a sense of balance, rather than being overwhelmed by them. This balance allows us to respond to life's challenges with wisdom, rather than reacting impulsively or out of fear. Equanimity also allows us to be more compassionate toward others. When we are steady within ourselves, we are better able to hold space for others' emotions without being caught up in them. If a friend is angry or sad, we can listen with an open heart, offering support without becoming overwhelmed by their emotions. We can offer our compassion without taking on their pain as our own. It's important to remember that equanimity is a practice, not something that happens overnight. Just like training a muscle, it takes time and patience to develop. But with consistent effort, we can gradually strengthen our ability to face difficult emotions with calmness and clarity. When we practice equanimity, we begin to experience greater peace and resilience, no matter what life throws our way. In times of great difficulty, equanimity can be our anchor. When the storms of life arise, whether it's a personal crisis, a global event, or a simple everyday challenge, our ability to stay grounded in the present moment will make all the difference. Rather than being swept away by our emotions, we can remain steady, like a tree with deep roots. We can weather the storm, knowing that it, too, will pass. Equanimity doesn't mean we don't feel emotions. It means we don't let them control us. We can feel our emotions deeply, but we don't have to be ruled by them. When we practice equanimity, we gain the freedom to choose how we respond to life's challenges, rather than reacting out of habit or fear. We begin to live with more peace, more balance, and more wisdom. By developing equanimity, we open ourselves to a deeper level of inner peace. We learn to trust ourselves and our ability to navigate the ups and downs of life with calmness and clarity. No matter what happens, we can stay anchored in the present moment, confident that we have the tools to face whatever comes our way. Silence and solitude. Embracing inner stillness. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, we often find ourselves surrounded by noise. From the constant buzz of technology to the demands of work, social commitments, in the whirlwind of thoughts inside our heads, it can feel impossible to find a moment of peace. But the truth is, true peace is found in silence and solitude. Silence doesn't just mean the absence of sound. It is a state of mind, a deep stillness that arises when we pause and connect with our true self. Solitude doesn't mean being lonely. It is the gift of being alone with your thoughts and emotions, without distraction or external influence. The Buddha often spoke of the importance of finding solitude for meditation, for in that space, we can connect with the deepest parts of ourselves. When we are alone, we are not influenced by the opinions of others, the distractions of the world, or the constant chatter of our own minds. We are free to be ourselves, to observe our thoughts without judgment, and to experience life as it truly is. Imagine for a moment You are sitting in a quiet room. There are no notifications, no noise from the outside world, no one asking for your attention. Just you, sitting peacefully, breathing calmly. What do you notice? Can you hear the sound of your breath? Can you feel your heart beating, steady and peaceful? This is the power of solitude. When we create space for ourselves, we allow our mind to settle, our body to relax, and our spirit to find its natural rhythm. Solitude doesn't always mean being physically alone. It can be a state of mind. You can find solitude even in a crowded room by turning inward, letting go of the distractions around you. It is about finding that space within where you can hear your own voice and connect with your true self. The Zen tradition often speaks of the importance of finding stillness in the midst of chaos. Just as a pond becomes clear when the water settles, your mind becomes clear when you create space for silence and solitude. But solitude isn't always easy. In a world that constantly demands our attention, being alone can feel uncomfortable, even unsettling. Our minds are conditioned to seek distractions, to fill the silence with noise. But this is where the practice begins. The more we embrace silence, the more we become comfortable with it. We start to realize that silence isn't emptiness. It is full of life. It is in the silence that we hear the wisdom of our inner voice, that we discover our true desires, our deepest fears, and our greatest potential. When we allow ourselves to be silent, we stop chasing after things outside of ourselves. We stop searching for answers in the noise of the world, and we start listening to the wisdom within. This inner wisdom is always there, waiting to be heard, but we often miss it because we are too busy filling our lives with distractions. In silence, we can hear it clearly. In solitude, we can feel it deeply. There is a saying in Zen, the quieter you become, the more you can hear. When we quiet the mind, we can hear the subtle whispers of wisdom, of love, of truth. These whispers are always present, but we often drown them out with the noise of our thoughts, our worries, and our fears. In silence, we can learn to listen with our whole being, to open ourselves to the guidance that comes from within. It is also in silence that we can practice the art of observing. In the silence of meditation, we can observe our thoughts without getting caught up in them. We can watch them come and go, like clouds passing through the sky. This practice of observing without judgment is one of the most powerful tools we have to cultivate peace. When we observe our thoughts and emotions without attaching to them, we free ourselves from their control. We stop identifying with every passing thought or feeling, and we begin to realize that we are not our thoughts. We are the observer, the awareness that watches everything unfold. Solitude also allows us to reconnect with nature. In the stillness of a quiet forest, the peacefulness of a mountain, or the calm of the ocean, we can feel a deep sense of belonging. Nature has a way of reminding us of our true nature, of the peace that exists within all of us. When we spend time in nature, we are reminded that just as the trees stand quietly in the forest, so too can we stand in our own stillness. Just as the river flows peacefully, so too can we flow through life with ease. Nature teaches us that stillness is not a lack of action, but the perfect state of being in alignment with the world around us. But what about when silence is difficult to find? What about when we are overwhelmed by the noise of the world? This is where the practice of mindfulness can help. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, of bringing our attention to the here and now. Even in a busy environment, we can practice mindfulness by focusing on our breath, on the sensations in our body, or on the sounds around us. By bringing our attention to the present moment, we create a small oasis of silence in the midst of the noise. In mindfulness, we can find peace even in the most chaotic situations. When we are mindful, we are not reacting to the world around us. We are simply observing, allowing things to be as they are. This is the essence of inner peace. Accepting what is, without trying to change it or control it. When we accept the present moment, we find freedom. We stop fighting against life and start flowing with it. The practice of silence and solitude is not just about being alone. It is about creating space for our true self to emerge. When we embrace silence, we connect with the essence of who we are, beyond the roles we play or the identities we create. In that space, we can experience true peace. It is a peace that is not dependent on external circumstances, but a peace that comes from within. Solitude also helps us to reflect on our lives. When we are always surrounded by others, it can be difficult to see clearly. But in solitude, we can look at our lives with fresh eyes. We can see our patterns, our habits, and our desires. We can reflect on our actions and our choices and decide if they align with the kind of person we want to be. It is in the quiet moments of solitude that we make the most important decisions about our lives. The practice of silence and solitude is not about escaping the world. It is about engaging with it from a place of deep peace. It is about learning to be at home within ourselves, no matter where we are or what is happening around us. When we are at peace with ourselves, we are at peace with the world. So, take a moment each day to embrace silence and solitude. It doesn't have to be long. Even a few minutes of stillness can make a big difference. Whether it's sitting quietly in meditation, taking a walk in nature, or simply sitting with your thoughts, make time for yourself. In that space, you will find the peace you've been searching for, the peace that was always there, waiting for you to notice. As you embrace silence and solitude, remember this. Peace is not something to be sought outside of yourself. It is already within you, waiting to be discovered. And in that discovery, you will find a peace that will carry you through all of life's challenges. The ripple effect, spreading peace beyond yourself. Listen closely, dear seeker. Peace is not something you hold tightly to yourself, as if it were a treasure hidden in a chest. Peace, true peace, is like a candle's flame. When you share it, it doesn't diminish. Instead, it grows, lighting up the darkness around you. When you become calm and peaceful within, that calmness flows outward, touching everyone you encounter. This is the ripple effect of peace. Imagine throwing a stone into a still pond. The ripples spread outward, one after another, reaching far beyond where the stone first fell. Your inner peace works in the same way. When you embody calmness, even in the face of life's storms, others begin to feel it. A child who sees their parent remain patient in a moment of stress learns what patience looks like. A friend who hears your gentle words during conflict begins to soften their own tone. Peace starts within but travels far. Now, you may wonder, how can I spread peace when the world around me is so chaotic? The answer is simple, by being a living example. When you carry peace in your heart, it shows in the way you speak, act, and respond. You don't need grand gestures or loud proclamations. The quiet strength of your calmness speaks louder than words. Let me share a small story with you. There was once a monk who lived in a bustling village. The villagers were often quarreling, and the streets were filled with noise and anger. But this monk walked among them with a serene smile, always calm, always kind. One day, a villager asked him, "How can you stay so peaceful when the world around you is so loud and troubled?" The monk replied, "The storm may rage outside, but I do not let it enter my heart. And when my heart is still, others feel it too." You see, peace is contagious. It is not something you teach by instruction, but by example. If you want others to be calm, show them what calmness looks like. If you want others to be kind, let them see kindness in your actions. This is how you create ripples that touch lives you may never even know. But remember, spreading peace doesn't mean fixing others. It is not your job to change anyone. Your task is simply to hold peace within yourself and let it shine naturally. Like the sun, you do not need to force your light on others. You simply need to shine, and those who need the light will feel its warmth. Consider your daily interactions. How do you greet others? Is your tone gentle or hurried and sharp? Do your words uplift or do they burden? A single kind word can ease someone's pain. A moment of patience can prevent an argument. These small acts, though they may seem insignificant, create ripples of peace that can travel farther than you imagine. The Buddha once said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but by love alone is healed." This is a profound teaching. When you respond to anger with anger, you only add to the fire. But when you respond with calmness and compassion, you extinguish the flames. This doesn't mean allowing others to harm you. It means standing firm in your peace, unshaken by their storms. Spreading peace also means creating a peaceful environment. Look around you. Is your home a place of calm, or is it filled with clutter and noise? A clean, quiet space allows peace to flourish. And when you create peace in your surroundings, those who enter will feel it too. Even a simple act like lighting a candle, arranging flowers, or keeping a space tidy can invite tranquility. Another way to spread peace is by practicing generosity. Give, not because you want something in return, but because giving is an expression of love. Share your time, your attention, and your kindness. Listen deeply when someone speaks. Offer a helping hand when you see someone in need. These acts of generosity, no matter how small, ripple outward, creating harmony in the lives they touch. But do not forget, the ripples of peace begin with you. If you are not peaceful within, you cannot share peace with others. This is why cultivating your own calmness is the most important step. Practice mindfulness. Breathe deeply. Let go of anger and resentment. When you take care of your inner world, your outer world begins to transform. Sometimes, the impact of your peace will be immediate. Other times, it may take years for the ripples to reach their destination. Trust the process. Trust that every small act of calmness, kindness, and compassion makes a difference, even if you cannot see it. And here is a final thought for you to carry. When you spread peace, it is not only others who benefit, you benefit too. The act of sharing peace strengthens your own. It deepens your understanding and anchors you further in your calmness. Peace, when shared, grows not just outward but inward as well. So, dear one, let your peace ripple outward. Be the stillness in the storm, the light in the darkness. Trust that your calmness will touch hearts and transform lives in ways you may never fully know. This is the power of the ripple effect. This is the gift of spreading peace beyond yourself. Conclusion: becoming a beacon of calm and peace. Sit down, my friend, and take a deep breath. Feel the air flow into your body, gentle and life-giving. Now exhale slowly, releasing all the weight you carry. In this moment, you are here, and that is enough. You have walked far on this journey to understanding calm and peace. Let us reflect together and see what you have become. Life is like a vast ocean, filled with waves of emotions, challenges, and unexpected storms. But amidst this ever-changing sea, there is a deeper current, steady, calm, and unshaken. That current is the peace within you. Over these steps, we have spoken of how to uncover it, nurture it, and let it guide your life. But now, the question remains: how do you carry this peace not just for yourself, but for others? How do you become a light in the storm for those around you? Think of a quiet pond on a still morning. When you drop a small stone into it, the ripples spread far and wide, touching every corner of its surface. Your peace works the same way. When you cultivate calm within yourself, it touches everyone you meet. A kind word, a gentle smile, a patient pause. These are not small things. They are the ripples that can change a moment, a day, even a life. But do not think this is always easy. There will be times when the noise of the world grows loud, when anger tempts you, or sorrow pulls at your heart. In these moments, remember, peace is not the absence of struggle. It is the ability to remain still within it. When you face difficulties, do not run. Do not fight. Instead, breathe, observe, and let your inner calm guide you. This is the way of the wise. And as you become more peaceful, something remarkable happens. You become a source of peace for others. Have you noticed how one calm person in a heated room can change the energy? You can be that person, not by trying to fix everything, but by simply being present. Your calmness will remind others that they, too, have the power to choose peace over chaos. Now, let us go back to where we began. What did we say about traffic, frustrations, and the stress of everyday life? At first, these seemed like walls, unmovable and suffocating. But now, do you see them differently? They are not walls, they are mirrors. They reflect your inner state. When your mind is calm, even the busiest street feels manageable. When your heart is steady, even the harshest words cannot shake you. Remember, the teachings of Buddhism are not just lessons to learn but tools to live by. The Buddha said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Carry this wisdom with you. When you are patient with yourself, you can be patient with others. When you are gentle with yourself, you will find it easier to be gentle with others. The journey inward is the first step toward becoming a beacon for the world. You might wonder, what now? How do I make sure I do not lose this peace I found? The answer, my friend, is practice. Every breath, every step, every moment is an opportunity to practice calmness. It is not about being perfect, it is about being consistent. You will stumble, that is human, but each time you return to stillness, you strengthen it. Over time, it becomes your natural state. Finally, I ask you to reflect on this. Who have you inspired by simply being peaceful? Perhaps it is a child who watches you remain patient in a moment of frustration. Perhaps it is a friend who notices your ability to listen without judgment. Perhaps it is a stranger who sees kindness in your eyes. You may never know the full impact of your calmness, but trust me, it is there. As we end this journey together, let me remind you of one thing. You are enough. Right here, right now, you have everything you need to live a peaceful, meaningful life. Let go of the rush to become someone else or somewhere else. Be here. Be still. Be you. This is wisdom woven, and this journey is only the beginning. If these teachings have touched your heart, if you have felt even a moment of stillness in this stormy world, then let others join this path. There are so many who watch, but only a small few subscribe, just 0.2%. If this has helped you, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Not for numbers, but to spread this calm to a world that needs it. Together, we can create a ripple of peace that travels far beyond us. Thank you for walking this path with me. May your days be filled with calm, your nights with rest, and your heart with peace. The light within you is bright. Share it freely. Go well, my friend.